morning, happy Wednesday, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Susan Jones. I am a first grade teacher in Massachusetts, and if you've been following me for a while, then welcome back. As you can see by the title of this video, I wanted to kind of take you along on a little day in the life. So it's been just over an hour since I woke up this morning. Very tired this morning. Not only is it the beginning of the school year, but yesterday was a very busy day. Right after school yesterday, I had to rush home for my literacy committee meeting. If you followed me last year, you'll know that we were looking at new curriculums to adopt, and we have picked 2 to pilot. So we are currently piloting EL Education, and so every Tuesday we still meet, kind of debrief what we like, what we don't like, things that have helped us along the way, and just kind of talk about it throughout the way. And then in late October, we're gonna switch to our pilot for HMH into reading. So we'll continue that throughout this fall and kind of winter season. And then right after that meeting ended, I hopped in the car, picked up 2 of my boys' friends with my 2 boys in the back, and we went to basketball. So that was about half an hour away. And then when we came back, it was the premiere night of Dancing with the Stars, which my family loves to watch. My sister actually came over and we did a little premiere night. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was so fun. If you also watch Dancing with the Stars, let me know down below who you're rooting for. Personally, I loved Joey the Bachelor. I thought he was great. I loved Dwight Howard. I thought he was amazing. I was so impressed, especially with how tall he is. And I was like screaming and clapping for Steven, the Olympic gymnast. Loved him. Anyway, let's get back to teaching. So I thought what I would do is take you for a little walkthrough of our day today. I'll pop in, of course, at the end of the day, let you know any changes, how things went, and then, yeah, just kind of go from there. So let me pull up the slides and I'll see what we're doing today. Also, I just do want to point out it's 7:25 right now. Students don't get here for another hour. I do obviously get here early. I kind of like to start my day this way, and then I typically leave right after school. Today, I have a Pilates class at 4:30, which is right down the street from here. So I'm gonna actually stay a little bit and see what I can get done for next year. Having made all my slides and everything last year has helped tremendously, and just having all the activities ready. Last year was my first year back in the classroom full time after, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years away. So having everything back in the groove already in year 2 has made it a lot easier for planning. So it doesn't take as long. So I'm hopeful after school today, I can stay for about 45 minutes before I have to go over to my class, and I'll try to make copies and get my slides ready and go from there. All right, looking at what we are doing today, we have our morning bins when they come in. I've been rotating the toys out each week, and this has been a good strategy. We have our little cleanup song. They need to be back on the rug and all cleaned up by the end of that 2-minute song. Lunch choices today, we've got corn dog, ham and cheese, and a bagel. And then we always go into our morning meeting. I have a whole video on morning meeting and how it works. I'll put it right here. We follow the same steps kind of every day, and each day has its own little activity or talking thing at the end. We have our morning message, and our special is PE today, and we are practicing Would You Rather. So Would You Rather, I mention it in our message, but this is where we practice stand up, hand up, pair up. It's one of our Kagan structures that we use in my classroom just to get kids kind of up and moving. So I explain that we need to walk around the room and get as many partners as they can, and they don't pass a partner for a preferred partner. You just get with somebody, share your answer, turn, and go find someone else. So 2 questions: would you rather go swimming or go horseback riding? And would you rather be able to fly or to be invisible? So they'll think about those, they'll walk around the room with their hand in the air, find a partner, high five them, turn and share, and then go find somebody else. Keep it moving. Haggerty, of course. Haggerty has been working well with our little Haggerty hedgehog that we have. That's my little reward system, and whoever is doing a great job with Haggerty gets to hold the little Haggerty hedgehog. Very cute. And for phonics, I'm so excited because I can use my foundation slides that I made over the summer. So this basically just follows the manual and then allows me to not have to hold the manual the whole time. So what sound do you hear at the beginning of these words? Egg, exercise, elephant. We're introducing our short vowel E. Back here on the sound wall, we have already started with all the other vowels that are up there. And then you can see in math, we've learned numbers 1 through 10. If you haven't been following me and you are new here, I only put up things that we have already learned. So nothing is basically, all these words over here are from EL Education. Nothing is on the walls or hanging up until we have learned it. Then we will go over what our mouth should look like, our keyword, ed, and then I'll show them how to make it. After I make it up on the big board, it's not connected right now, but this will be up there. So I'll make it on the big board, explain how it goes, and then I'll have students all put their hands in the sky like they are skywriting it, and they have to kind of move my marker. They pretend that they do that. So they'll do that a couple times. Then we will do the same with the letter R, talk about what our mouth should look like, the keyword, try to make it. And then we'll do, this is our vowel extension. So this is a foundation thing that they do. And we explain how vowels are continuous sounds. So I'll come up here randomly and pick one. I'll trace the line and they have to go, octopus, when they get to the end. So they do that for each one just to practice those vowel sounds. Now we have all 5 vowels and I will add my card to the back. Then we have some handwriting practice, so I will have them take out their whiteboards. They will make 5 E's and circle their best one. We'll make 5 R's, circle our best one. And then I will also have them practice where I will say a sound or two, and then they have to kind of write down what they hear. So I might say, and these will be ones that we've learned. So spell the sound T, spell the sound B, and then they'll add it to their foundations journal. I will say I am currently trying to figure out where I want students when we're doing this. What I did last year isn't necessarily working for this class, and I don't know if I need to give it more time or if I need to switch it up. I'm kind of figuring that out right now, because we do morning meeting in Heggerty on the rug, and that's a good, 20 minutes or so that they're sitting there. So then what I've done in the past is I would have students get up for phonics and they would go to their seats and they would have to turn their chair and kind of face the board so I could make sure they could all see me. But when students are at their seats, they're having a hard time focusing. I don't know if it's the people around them or they're kind of wiggly in their chairs, lots of movement. And when I try to go into check, I mean, I don't have that many kids, it's pretty clear. But if I go to check in with this group, then I lose the group over there. And I'm up there kind of doing acrobatics to try to make it work. So I'm trying to see where I want them to go. Maybe we even just go to a different spot on the rug, or if I have them split up into their foundation, maybe they have fun foundation spots on the rug or something to get them to the transition from Heggerty over to foundations without sitting on the rug too long. I don't know. If you have any suggestions, let me know. So after foundations, this is also different from last year. Normally we would have snack time right now, snack and recess, and it would be a good kind of break. We have now pushed phonics into writing, so they go back to back, and they are going to be identifying parts of a complete sentence. These slides and lessons we're going to do for writing are from my writing club, the SJT Writing Club, and these are part of my foundational lessons. So listen to me read these group of words below, which one is a sentence, which one is not, and how did you know? So we're going to talk about kind of sentences versus fragments. What does this sentence have that this does not? And talk about naming parts and telling parts, which is right here. The girl is the naming part. And what did she do? She dropped the books on her foot. We also point out that sentences have punctuation and capitalization. And then I'm going to model kind of identifying the naming parts and the telling parts. And students are going to do the same thing. This parts of a sentence page is not only with this unit here, but I also have a bunch of these in my sentence unit over on TPT. So they will have to, I'm going to read the sentences out loud. These are not decodable. They can't read these yet. So I'm going to read it for them. And then we're going to kind of highlight the naming part and the telling part in each one. And then they have to draw a picture of what each one says. They'll have their little timer there. And then we'll do a little quick share. How were you able to identify the naming part? What about the telling part? Share your illustrations with a friend. That actually reminded me that I need to get that copy because I did not print that. So let me write that down real quick before I forget. This is usually what I do in the morning. I go through the slides, make note of anything that I still need to print or for some reason forgot to put over in my planning sheets, and then I kind of gather everything so I'm ready for the day. All right, after that, then we go into snack and recess, and after we come back for calendar and math. Calendar, we have a digital calendar. I have shared this many times before, but in case you haven't seen it, I'll open it up. I basically just have my students stand up here, my calendar helper, and we walk through each of the slides. So they move the apple to the next day. This is my Bernese Mountain Dog Sully at home. He has a different kind of picture each day. We'll move this over, answer the date, do today, yesterday, tomorrow, days of school, weather, and then we do the Pledge of Allegiance. And then let's see what we're doing in math. These are my comparing slides, or comparing number talks. So we've already done a couple, but I'm basically heading to slides and I'm having my students have to compare the images using the words more and less. So they might say there are more green stars than pink stars. And then I'll say, well, how many are up here? How many are down here? We'll write it in the middle, and then we'll use the greater than or less than sign to compare it. And towards the end of these, which we're heading to now, we are going to be comparing just abstract numbers instead of quantities. So we kind of have worked through that to get here. In math, we are going to be, looks like, identifying a number one more and one less than. So, and this time we're going to introduce it with a number line. So yesterday we did something similar, but we did it with cubes. And so we had them build, 3 cubes, what's one more? They had to add a cube, say 4. Build 6 cubes, what's one less? Take 1 away and do 5. So now we're gonna introduce it with a number line. First, we'll review this first. What's 1 more than 6? They'll move it for the answer. What's 1 less than 4? 2 more than 4, 2 less than 7. And then we're going to practice with our little 10 frame boards. So I'll show you the 10 frame boards in a minute, but basically students are going to get them out. They'll all have cubes. And then I'm going to roll a number on this little fun roller here. We'll roll it. It makes noise on the board. We have a 5. So everybody will build 5 on their board. And then we'll come right up here. So blank is 1 more than 5. Blank is 1 less than 5. They have to show it up here and we'll write it down on the board. So just a little whole group hands-on practice. And then students will go over with their partner and they'll play this game, 1 more, 1 less, doing something like we just did. One of my teammates made this little worksheet. So we're gonna play this, and here they have the number line to be able to identify it. So all they do is roll the dice, that number goes in the middle, and then they have to write 1 less and 1 more on each side. If they finish, we do have this worksheet. This came from Natalie Lynn Kindergarten, and they will cut out and paste 1 more into the each. And if they still have time, they can go to iExcel. And I think I have a star thing there, but I'm just gonna let them play games because we'll do the star thing tomorrow. All of that will bring us right to lunch and recess. So this year, our morning schedule is very academic heavy. Last year it was kind of broken up a little bit with our win time being in the morning and with an earlier snack and recess. So a lot of the academics are in the middle, which makes it for a long morning, but I do think in the long run will be better for them. We're still building up that stamina. As you can see, we've only been in school 12 days. So we're still building that up. I think once we have a little more stamina, it'll go a little bit smoother, because right now, they're kind of like, oh, is it snack and recess yet? Is it lunch? I'm so exhausted, which I think is pretty normal. But here are the little 10 frame charts that we have. I don't know where we got these, but every class already had a set. So one side's a 10 frame and one is a part whole, which is helpful. So I'm just gonna have, when we do that whole group activity, they just have to build it here. I'll definitely have some students at their seats, and I'm gonna pull some to the rug just so I can make sure I can kind of see them. And then an incentive will be, of course, who can come roll the dice. Whoever comes roll the dice on the board is, somebody doing a good job and listening and all that fun stuff. Also wanted to show you my little dot trees back here. It was dot day over the weekend. So on Monday, we did our little dot trees. These ones are blowing in the wind. I like how cute they came out. Everybody did them just a little differently. And then we have our butterflies still up here. Butterflies are going strong. My bird feeder, if you followed my videos earlier this summer, I have a bird feeder here, but it already fell. I need to get stronger suction cups because it was driving me crazy. It was always crooked. Although I loved having the birds come. There were tons of them that would visit all the time. So I think it's down there somewhere. I don't even know if I can see. Oh, there it is, right there. So I need to go get that, and I need stronger suction cups so I can eventually plop it up on the window again. All right, after lunch and recess, we are going into WIN. Now, the first 2 days of WIN, we did not do our stations yet. Again, I have an entire video on how we do WIN. I'm gonna put it right here, and that is still how we do it. But let me flip the camera real quick and tell you what we did Monday and Tuesday. Monday for Win, we actually did our dot day project. So I used that 45 minutes to do that fun project. And then Tuesday, yesterday during Win, I introduced what the writing part of Win will look like. So starting off the year, I just explained that we have independent activities during Win. We have collaborative activities, which are games during Win. And we also have teacher table during Win. So the last week and I think a couple days before that, we just practiced doing independent activities, and then they go to an app that they can do on their iPad. So kind of like a must do and a may do, but I did put them in categories on the board, students. So if you were in the independent category, you would come over, you would go to this little organizer right here that has everything, and this is our independent one. They would grab the sheet, whatever it was, and then they would take it back, complete it, and then they can go to a may do activity on their iPad. Same with the game. If they were in the game group, they would play the math game and then go to an iPad activity. Same with teacher table. So just kind of introducing those a little bit. And the last one that I really need to introduce, well, we have 2 more partner reading, but that will be introduced naturally in our next foundations unit when we start fluency practice. And then the writing one. So let me show you what we did yesterday and how I kind of introduced that to everybody. So this is the slide that was up, and I explained that during Win time, if you happen to be in the writing group, your bin is going to be yellow and your journals are here in yellow. So there'll be a prompt here, and then they come right over here to do this. And I explained that they will always watch a video first, and it'll be linked in Seesaw, but we all watched our video together today. So we listened to the book Goodbye Summer, Hello Autumn. And after we read the book or listened to the book, we came over and we grabbed our prompt, which is in fall, I will. And so I had actually everybody come over with their prompt. I had them all grab their journal, and we all kind of sat in a circle. We laid down in a circle with a pencil, and I showed them how we would complete this. So for mine, let me grab it. So I opened it up, I showed them what it will look like, and then I explained that the very first thing we have to do is we have to copy our prompt here. So in fall, I will, and then we brainstormed some ideas. I went around the room. I said, my idea is I will go pumpkin picking. So I wrote that to the best of my ability, period at the end, capital at the beginning, and then I had to draw a picture to match. So then once every student had their own idea that they'll go write, I sent them off to their seats. They did it in their journal, copied it in, drew a picture to match, and then they put their journal back over in the bucket. So basically for each different part of Win or each different type of activity, I'm going to explicitly teach them exactly what it should look like. And now next week during Win, we will have independent, we'll have our math, and independent's always like a worksheet with phonics and math, or like a packet with phonics and math practice based on what we're working on. Math part is always a game that they play with a partner. And then we'll also have a writing group now, and they will have a different video to watch with a prompt down there to complete. So, and I'll explain that at the beginning of each week. So that will be introduced next week. So for today, let's go see what we're doing. So we will only have 3 groups this week. We'll just do Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday because Monday and Tuesday we already did Win. So the independent review, they have a T and I believe it's B worksheet where they have to just identify the images that start with that sound. And then you'll see that we just did something like this in math, but it was for 1 more. So this one is going to be 1 less. So they will do that by themselves. Collaborative is going to be a game called Roll in Color. We're still working with those numbers 1 through 10. We're actually assessing this Friday, so then we'll move on. So they'll just roll 1 die, and then they have to find a matching image here. So if they roll a 1, there's a couple different ways. We have 1 with tally marks, fingers, so on. They have to find it and color it in. They take turns until the whole grid is done. This slide, of course, has all of the names on it, so they're mostly blurred, but I will also have my group back with me at teacher table practicing what we do back there. And then these are their choices for afterwards. Our special is PE today, and then when we come back, we are back into EL education. Now, if you happen to use EL education or you're piloting it like I am, these slides from, I believe they are from Oakland Unified School District, have been so much easier to navigate than the Imagine Learning website. So Imagine Learning is the publisher that we are piloting through, and they do have a bunch online, but it's just really hard to navigate. So we've kind of been going through these slides. Yesterday, we introduced the book, The Magnificent Thing, and we talked about what magnificent means. So today, it looks like we are going to, I'm just going through, seeing what we have to do. our learning targets, of course. We have a learning target song that we sing, but we're going to close read it. So we're going to close read the story. We're going to zoom in on a few pages and really kind of talk about what's happening, because yesterday I just read it through once, and then, like I said, we kind of defined the word magnificent. So the focus question was, how was this little girl able to make such a magnificent thing? And I don't know if you can see this poster over here, but it says habits of character. That is kind of what we are working on in terms like character for ourselves, not character in a story. You need to have initiative, you need to use collaboration, and have perseverance. So we're going to see if she was able to do that in this book. So let's see. We're going to come up with some things that the girl does. She decides to make something. What is that called? Initiative. So we're going to give some examples. Fill that out. We're going to read each page here. These are like the close reading pages that the curriculum asked you to take a look at. What did the girl decide to do? And then we're going to, again, continue this anchor chart. So what's the girl doing in these pictures? What do you notice? How is the girl feeling? Whom does she pick to help her? Why do you think she does this? You can see the slides are just so helpful in guiding you through this curriculum, because the publisher slides, you have to click like a million different tabs, and all of these references are just all over the place. This makes it much easier to get through. And then we have a little jump rope challenge. So today they're going to make shapes with their classmates using a rope. We're going to use string. The tricky part is that each person must be holding the rope at all times with at least one hand. Good luck. They'll be in groups and they have to try to make each shape. So a little collaboration and probably perseverance challenge. See how many they can make in 10 minutes. And voila. And then we always write about it at the end. So how were you able to complete the challenge? They're going to just show some examples of how they made it. And then they're supposed to write a sentence. And this reminds us how we write our sentences. That is a walkthrough of what an EL lesson looks like. In case you are unfamiliar, EL education is a knowledge building curriculum. It's very different from like a reader's workshop type approach. It's much different than, picking a book and talking about a skill like retelling or character development. It's a very specific way that the curriculum is set up. So we are doing 8 weeks of this. We're doing one full module, and last week there were 8 lessons. So last 2 weeks there were 8 lessons that we talked about tools, and we built background knowledge around different tools, how tools help us. And at the end of our module, which will end at the end of October, the student goal is to create their own tool that will help out the classroom. So we kind of started with building that background knowledge. Here are some different tools that can help us. This week, this is unit 2 within the module. We read Magnificent Thing, and we're kind of talking about things that can help us create tools that we can't hold in our hand. So we talked about creating objects with different tools, how that helped. This time we're now talking about, again, those habits of character. That if we take initiative, if we persevere, if we have collaboration, we can build something great. So it's kind of going to that next step, it sounds like. Along the way, students do a lot of like fun hands-on challenges. Just a couple days ago, students built these little towers here. They had to work together in a group to do that. And we talked about what was frustrating, what was fun about that challenge. So there are a lot of like fun elements. I'm excited to see kind of how this ends up. But I will say, just from meeting with our teams and meeting with everybody doing the pilot, it's a big ask on teachers to kind of go through this curriculum. So there's a couple big downsides that just keep coming up. Number one, teacher prep is a lot for this program, in terms of having the physical materials that you need, and also just making sure obviously you need to know ahead of time anyway. This is a new pilot, but like if I don't have 8 jump ropes, I can't do today's lesson. So I have string that we're going to try to use, but even that you have to kind of figure it out. The first couple units, we had to have like physical tools. I needed to have tweezers for every pair of students. I needed to have eyedroppers, measuring cups, ladles. Again, all these things, most of them I do have at home. Some things I had to order. And you need enough for your classroom. So if we were going to adopt this program, we would definitely need to make like bins for each level and make sure that every teacher has all these supplies, because otherwise it's just a lot to kind of manage. The other thing we're having a little trouble with is how much time students are just like sitting on the rug listening to a teacher lesson. Usually we do like a read aloud and then we can stand up, walk around, do an activity, but these are definitely prolonged periods of time that students are sitting on the rug. For some of the lessons, some of them are quicker than others, but for some we're sitting a lot. And I feel like as this program has been continuing, they sit longer and longer. If you are also finding that with EL, or if you have any suggestions for that, if you could let me know down in the comments, that would be very helpful. We're trying to figure out like where we can break it up and get students, I don't know, up, moving, talking more, something. So yeah, that is how we feel about that right now. And I'll keep you updated as the pilot continues. And very last but not least, we have social studies at the end of the day. So today we use Karen Jones' teaching units. This one's on community. And it is, we can explain why it's important to be truthful. So we definitely have had to cut into our social studies time to finish our EL lessons for the two of us that are doing the pilot in first grade. And that's okay, especially because we've been kind of working on some team building stuff, and the social studies unit right now is community anyway, so we're fine with that. That's a little peek into what our day will look like. Also during prep time today, we have common planning. We do that every Wednesday, so we get together, talk about what we're teaching next week, pull up ideas and all that fun stuff. So we will be doing that. I will check in at the end of the day to let you know how today went, what we changed, what went well, what did not go well, and so on. So see you in a bit. Hello, popping in from after school. It was a nice long day, but most of the day I think went pretty well. We are having naturally some trouble at the end of the day. Again, I think I mentioned this before school, with just like after we get back from specials, we have about an hour of work, and that first like 35 to 45 minutes is our EL lesson, which I told you has a lot of like sitting and listening. This one we had a big talk first, and then we did get up and do the rope challenge. So we did have a little break in there, but that first like 15 minutes of talking, the kids are like, is it time to go home? How much longer? Just, constantly asking all those questions and rolling all over the rug. But that will get better with time. And also the rope challenge was a bit funny. So earlier in the week, we did a challenge where we are talking about initiative, collaboration, perseverance. So we did a challenge first where we had to build a tower of cups. So I apologize if I repeat myself because I don't remember. This morning feels like 5 days ago. But we did the cup challenge and that went really well, and students had great conversations after. Today's lesson was funny because all students had to hold the string. Here's a little picture of what we were doing, and they had to try to make these different shapes. And in the cup challenge, everybody was able to kind of place their own cup. That was part of the rule, which was easy enough to do, right? People had ideas, but you had to just place it and then you could kind of sit up. Here, everyone has to have one hand on the rope, and they all have to kind of work together to create the shape. So even if someone's like leading the pack, you can't like physically move the person. They have to put their body or put their string in that position to make the shapes. So it was really funny to just kind of see which students took over right away, which ones were having a lot of trouble if people weren't understanding what they were saying, which students just wanted to roll around in the rope. So we were kind of all over the map, but it led for some great conversations afterwards about what collaboration might look like, why it's important to follow those rules when we're doing a challenge, and all that stuff. So it was a funny one. And then they did go back to their journal and they just drew a picture of them and their group making one of the shapes, and they had to label it. So they did do a little bit of writing. Overall though, a great day. Everything went kind of as expected, and I do feel like we're kind of turning that corner after today's day 13. It was 13, yeah, day 13. So we're kind of turning that corner of, okay, we understand some of the procedures, we're understanding what's going to be happening. Those first couple of weeks, you always wonder like, oh man, are we going to make it? How do we go from the end of first grade to the beginning of first grade? Just because they grow so much in 1 year. But it does feel like we are kind of coming out the other end with some of our expectations, and we're working through it. So it feels good. I'm going to get back to finishing up my plans. I'm going to start working on my slides, and in about 45 minutes, I'm going to head out of here and go to my, not yoga, I was going to say yoga, Pilates class. So I'll see you in a little bit. The boys already had a snack plate. Parker made them some like rotisserie chicken. He didn't make it, but he gave them some rotisserie chicken and some other stuff. I made myself a little sub in a tub with some chips and some chocolate. Me and Parker are gonna go upstairs and watch the last episode of The Perfect Couple on Netflix. I read the book like years ago, so I didn't even remember what happened, and I already watched it. But Parker, who has zero context of the entire series or show or book or whatever, is enjoying it. So we're gonna go finish the finale right now. Also, yes, we're gonna be eating in bed. We are disgusting. Do not judge. Change of plans. Calvin wanted to play a board game with Dada. So that's more important than watching our show right now. So I'm gonna go sit at my computer and eat there while they play a cute little game and check in on them. And here we are, back in exactly the same clothes I started my day in. It is about 8:15. The boys are headed to bed, so I'm going to go in there and say good night to them. This was a nice, easy night because there were no meetings. I did have a workout class, but no meetings, no after-school practices. Nice and relaxed. We played board games, went outside, threw the ball around. I took a nice long shower and scrolled on TikTok a little bit. And just kind of relaxed in bed. Didn't do any work, which was nice. And ready for a good night's sleep and a new day tomorrow. We're going to watch The Perfect Couple. Finally, we'll watch the finale probably in about like half an hour. And I guarantee you I will be passed out by 10 o'clock. Ready for another 6:18 alarm in the morning. As always, I do hope you found this video helpful, a little day in the life of a first grade teacher. Any questions, comments, anything you want to know, ask me down in the comments, and I always try to answer them as soon as I can. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up so I know. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel and click that bell. That way you're notified of every new video. See you in the next one. Bye.
Give me a call back what you needed.